my name is Michaela Horn, and this is my informative speech about the history of softball. Most people believe that the game of softball was branched off of the version of baseball made as a version that girls could play with a lighter bat and a bigger ball. In reality, softball was not created off baseball. It has its own unique history of how it came about. As someone that has played softball her entire life, and as well as in college, I think its history and everything about the game is interesting. Today, I will talk about the history of the game, the rules that go along with the game, and the equipment needed to play. First off, let's take a look at its history of the game and how it came about. As I've said before, softball has its own unique history. It was created during a Yale versus Harvard football game on Thanksgiving Day in 1887. isfsoftball.org. Yale won, and as the celebration continued, a Yale fan threw a boxing glove at a Harvard fan. The Harvard fan picked it back up and hit it with a stick toward the Yale fan. George Hancock saw the interaction and thought it would make a good game. He wrapped a string around the boxing glove to make it look spherical. He lined a field with chalk and made up his own set of rules. Every Saturday, him and his friends gathered to play the game of softball, known to them as mushball. Softball has changed quite a bit. We play with an actual bat and a softball, which isn't actually soft. Since you know the basic history of softball and of how softball was created, I'll explain the rules of the game. There are 9 girls on the field at each time. There are 3 people in the outfield, a right fielder, a left fielder, and a center fielder, and there are 6 people on the infield, a catcher, a pitcher, first baseman, second baseman, shortstop, and a third baseman. The offensive team is the batting team, given at least 3 bats per inning. An individual batter is given a 4 and 3 count. The definition of a strike is anything across the plate between the batter's knees and armpits. A ball is anything outside of that zone. The offensive team is given 3 outs per inning to score as many runs as possible. Official rules are set by the National Softball Association, the NSA, founded in 1982 by Hugh Cantrell in Lexington, Kentucky. Only minor changes have been made to the rulebook since then. The rules are quite simple, but softball can also be somewhat of a dangerous sport. According to Rochester.edu, nearly 110,000 children from the ages 5 to 14 were treated in hospital emergency rooms for baseball or softball related injuries. A helmet is required to play the game to prevent head injuries. Depending on the level of play, you could have a fastball coming at you about 70 miles per hour. You also need a bat to hit the ball, because this is the entire point of the game. And while on defense, the ball will be either hit at you on the ground or in the air. And even though the name of the game is deceiving, a softball is in no way soft. Without a glove, you could bruise your hand or even break other body parts. With such a deceiving name, someone might think this equipment isn't necessary, but without it, you cannot be successful. Softball is a sport with a very odd and interesting history. It has a pretty simple system of rules, and it's easy to understand the rules, but also the certain equipment to keep the game safe and fun. Softball gets underestimated on its history when it truly has an interesting beginning. Coming from someone that plays the sport herself, I can say we honestly play for the love of the game.